So on today's video, we're going to be making a simple darted gown pattern. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to join our pattern papers. That's if it's not big enough. But if your pattern paper is big enough, you don't need to join it. So after joining the pattern paper, you just we've already done that already in 6-piece skirts, showing you detailed video on how to join the pattern paper. So we're going to mark out our lines. Same lines we marked in blouses. First of all, we'll mark 1 inch below the upper edge line, that's our shoulder line. We'll mark our chest line, we mark our armhole line, we mark our bust line, then we'll mark our under bust line. After marking our under bust line, we'll mark our high waist line. From our high waist to our low waist, we'll have 5 inches. So we'll mark our low waist line, we mark our hip line, and then we'll mark our full length line, and then hem allowance. So these are all the lines that we're going to mark. We'll mark them at the edge, that's the left edge. We're going to mark them in the middle also, and then we are going to mark them at the right edge, so more like 3 points, so that we can go ahead and connect them eventually. So the detailed measurements for this gown are still the same measurements that we have in our measurements video. So after marking them, we'll connect them exactly the same way we connected our lines for the blouse. So we'll have our chest line, armhole line, bust line, under bust, high waist, low waist, hip, full length, and then we have our hem lines. So now we're going to start drafting the pattern for the front panel. So we're going to, first of all, as usual, we're going to mark our neck width. I chose to use a neck width of 3. You can choose something bigger depending on the kind of neckline of outfits that you're working on. You can make something smaller if you want something tighter. So but right now I'm just working with 3 as a standard because it's basic. So from the center front, that's the edge of our paper which we are treating as the center front, I'll be measuring 3 inches neck width. So I'll just give you a glimpse of the neck, how to draw different necklines that I talked about in the last video. So we'll just mark 3 inches neck width. You can choose to mark your neck depth, any neck depth of your choice. You just mark them. We've already done that in depth in our simple darted blouse video. So I just did a round neck. If I want a V neck, I'll just connect the neck width to the neck depth. That's the widest part, that's where the neck is wide, to the depth where it stops. So if I want a sweetheart neck, from the upper part I'll just come down by about 5 inches, then draw in this nice curve. Same goes with other necklines. So any of the necklines I choose to use, I'll eventually use it. So we'll mark our shoulder measurements. On the chest line, we'll mark shoulder divided by 2 minus ½ inch. So you connect exactly the same way we did it in the simple darted blouse. So only a few things are going to vary in making of this particular gown pattern. So we'll mark our round bust divided by 4 on our armhole. We connect with a curve, and then we go ahead and connect our round bust divided by 4 on the bust line. So this is the bust line. So the next line, which is the under bust line, just below it, you will not put any measurements there. So for now I'm marking it X, because for now you will not put anything there, just like we did also in our basic blouse making. So low waist measurements, no measurements, high waist measurements, no measurements. However, when you get to the round hip, you're going to measure round hip divided by 4. So the round hip I'm working with is 10 inches. So I worked with 10 inches divided by 4 and it gave me 10. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it to the bust point. Please do not connect it to the armhole. The bust point is exactly where you connect it to. So when you get to the full length line, you would mark round hip divided by 4. whatever you get, you subtract 1.5 inches. So I initially got 10 for my round hip. Now I'm working with 8.5 inches after subtracting. So for the final line at the hemline, you add, after you mark your 8.5 inches, come out by an extra half inch to enable the lining sit well when we start sewing it. When I start cutting this pattern, I'll explain more on that slanting out effect. This is actually going to be a pencil simple darted blouse, a gown, sorry. So our front pattern is ready. We'll go ahead and work on our back pattern. Please note that at this stage no shaping is required yet. So we've not started with any shaping, we've not started putting any darts. So this is just what we need right now. So we're going to mark our zip allowance from the edge of our paper at the back. We'll mark our zip allowance of 1.5 inches all through the length of the gown. That's where we're going to mark our zip allowance. So we're working with 1.5 inches. So we'll connect it with our metal rule. So now this is our center back line. So from center back line, you just mark your neck width of 3, the same thing you marked in front. You still go ahead and mark your shoulder measurement from the center back line. You mark your shoulder still on the chest line. You still mark your shoulder on the armhole line. Then on the armhole line, you still mark your round bust divided by 4, which we had 9. We had 36. So 36 divided by 4 give us 9. So we start connecting exactly the same way we did for simple darted blouse. So we curve and then we connect. So next thing, as usual, for the under bust, we ignore high waist, ignore low waist, ignore. Then on the round hip measurement, we're going to mark round hip divided by 4. We mark on the full length line, we're going to mark round hip divided by 4 minus 1.5 inches. After we'll subtract 1.5 inches both on the full length and the edge, that's hemline. On the hemline, you come out by extra half inch so that you can have this slanty effect there. We need it, especially when we're folding the edge of the hem. So we'll connect like so, and then we'll go ahead and connect the bust line. Please never ever connect to the armhole line. We're done with the bust, we're done with this connection. So now this is our back pattern in waiting, and this is our front pattern. So we're going to resume our round high waist shaping. Remember the same way we did our round high waist shaping in simple darted blouse. First step was to measure round high waist divided by 2. So we had 32 as a round high waist. When we divided by 2, we have 16. So this is A, B. So you measure from A to B, from the middle to the edge. So I got 9.5 when I measured. So I'm going to call here C and call here D. So I'll hold onto the 9.5 until I get 16. So whatever I get from that place, I had 16. I'll call here E.